Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Red Devils TV. Now, Manchester United lose 1-0 against West Ham, and embarrassing is all I've got to say. Absolute bottle jobs. Frustrating game, and I have United missed out on top four now. Are Manchester United losing out on top four is the question. Very frustrating, but at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do. Anyway, making his debut to Red Devils TV is Nick, so we'll just get right into the video. So, as we've just said, Manchester United have lost 1-0 to Manchester United. Very frustrating, but, West Ham wanted it more. That's all we've got to say. West Ham wanted it more. And, like I said, very frustrating. But, Nick, do you want to say hi?
Hi, can you hear me, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you, pal. Just can't see you.
Yeah, I can't see either. The camera's on. I'm not sure what's going on.
All right, no worries, pal. As long as I can hear you, that's all that really matters. Hopefully, it sorts out during the video. If you want to, do you want to leave or do you want to just carry on? Because obviously, we can't see you right now.
Can I use the same link? I'll just join and jump back in.
Yeah. Feel free, pal.
Feel free. Okay. I'll let you be 1 sec. No worries. Cheers.
All right, no worries, pal.
Okay. Cheers.
All right, guys. So anyway, I'll just carry on first half. But yes, if you're new to the channel, then make sure you like the stream and subscribe if you're new. Join the family of Red Devils TV. But anyway, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's just get right into the video. So first half review. Where do we go from here? Because again, for me, Manchester United were wasteful in attack, and I've already put it here. And again, we were just wasteful in attack. It was very frustrating, to be honest. United looked good going forward. But at the end of the day, we had so many chances that were off target. I think we had 8 chances. Our first 8 chances throughout the game were all off target, which is bad because we need to be scoring more. We need to be actually making clinical chances. Like, even if the keeper's saving the shot, even if it's a poor shot, but it's on goal, that's what you need to start doing more. And considering Manchester United only had, I think it was 3 shots on target throughout this entire game, is poor. And the amount of attempts that we created, we're desperate for a goal scorer. We're desperate to actually, we're desperate to do something, really. And that might not make much sense. But with United, we actually just need to sort out what's going. We need to figure out what's going on. And I've kind of picked up on this because over the recent few games, it seems that players don't actually move into space. And this just might be my opinion. This might be just something that I've only taken up on. But when you see the likes of us building up in possession, everyone stays in their positions, which is fine because you want your players to stick in the position because that's the positions that they are belonged in. That's what Eric Ten Hag's given them roles for. But no one comes out of position to help build up in possession. No one helps come out of position to actually build up the chances, and it's very frustrating. Like I've said, it is very, very frustrating. I see Anthony, I see Sancho, I see Rashford, Bruno, so many players doing it, and considering they're supposed to be our front attackers, they don't actually bring anything to the table, in my opinion. There we go. Nick's joining back
there
now.
We go.
Hey, pal. Nice to see you. But yeah, so we're just going over the first half review, pal, and we're just saying we're wasteful in attack. So we've obviously just covered that United have had many chances in this game, and we were literally, in the first half, we had 8 chances in the first half. None were on target. Right, what are your takes on the first half?
I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words.
Very frustrating is all it is. It's just very, very frustrating.
Defense wasn't the best either. Good. There's always good moments, but we're missing like Martinez, Varane. The defense is not solid at the minute. They're not glued together without the people we're missing.
Yeah. We do look different, let's say.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk about what went wrong, and that is David De Gea, because that was a horrendous mistake. That's something you make when you're playing football with your mates. Like, that's when you,
I don't know. He didn't keep that out.
That's when you stick the fat kid in goal, and like he just like makes terrible saves. But does De Gea need to go? And Nick, I've not spoken to you about De Gea yet, but does he need to go?
He is a really good keeper. He does make a lot of mistakes, but unless we try and get someone that's like, I don't know, unless we try and get a Courtois or someone, then have him like as a backup keeper or something. But unless he just needs like a new coach to train with to get them to a higher level, but he's there, but he just makes too many mistakes. Like that, like just like having his hand to it, but like letting the goal go in past his hand.
Yeah. The thing is though, is that the scoreline actually doesn't tell the full story. Like, yes, if you're not a United fan or a West Ham fan, you're looking into it to see what fixtures happened over the weekend for the Premier League, and you see West Ham beat Man United 1-0. You probably think, oh, Man United dominated the game, but West Ham get a lucky counter attack and score the goal. That was not the case. West Ham wanted it more. West Ham were more passionate. They were just, like I said, they just wanted it more, and it's very frustrating because United. Yes, we played a midweek game against Brighton, but we can't use that excuse because on Wednesday West Ham played Man City, so it's not like there's a massive difference here. And West Ham have now got to go on Thursday and play in the Conference League. Manchester United now got a full week off, which hopefully we win because Wolves are terrible at the moment, so we need to pick up 3 points there. But again, it's frustrating. But we'll ask the comments quickly. And thank you for everyone that's tuning in. Make sure you leave a like on the stream. But does David De Gea need to go? I'm going to ask the comments now. And Simon Davis says, great shot stopper, but evolution is evident. He's not the full package. And I agree now, because it seems that the goalkeeping role over time has really become an advanced position in football. And you need to be good on the ball. You need to be good with feet. And modern day managers' styles now is actually playing out from the back. Thomas Williams has said that David De Gea and the defence were shocking in lead up to West Ham's goal. There were 3 defenders around him. Yeah. And that, mate, because with the defenders, first of all, I don't know why Ben Rama took that shot. I mean, I guess it was just have a shot on target to try and trouble the keeper. David De Gea should be saving that all day, but as well, everyone's blaming David De Gea, but no one's blaming our defenders, who should actually be shutting Ben Rama down at that point. And again, it was terrible defending. It was a terrible goal to concede. But Thomas Williams also asked the question, do you think Rashford being played in the wrong position? It's hard to say, because Rashford seemed to be peaking, having an amazing season, and he seemed to crash back down a bit recently, and he's not been a goal threat recently. And considering Manchester United rely on Marcus Rashford, if you're relying on your star player to be scoring goals and he's not scoring, it is frustrating. So, Nick, what do you think of Rashford? Do you think that he's struggling for form at the moment, or do you think we're just relying on him too much and players need to start?
He's a great player. Obviously, he's young. Obviously, he's still got potential to get like higher and higher. But I think his best position is like playing on the wing, and obviously having Anthony at front. Where of course is good, but I don't think we should keep him unless we can get him cheap and have him as like a reserve player to like come on. But I think obviously Martial should be starting more, and then Rashford on the left wing.
Yeah, I mean, Weghorst, again, my take on Weghorst is that he gives 100%, 150% when it comes to effort. Like, he never can't be asked. He never doesn't show up. But Weghorst he just isn't good enough, and he doesn't. And I understand Eric Ten Hag playing him in the number 10 position today to press the midfield and to press the back line, because Weghorst is very physical, and you do need a player like Weghorst in this type of game, very physical. And I do think if Scott McTominay was fit, we probably would have seen Scott McTominay over Eriksen, in my opinion, because Declan Rice and Souček are a very physical midfield partnership, and you do need that almost bully type of player in your team in this type of game. But Thomas Williams as well, saying United do currently have dead weight. That's we need to get rid of in the summer, and hopefully Eric Ten Hag does get rid of the dead weight. Yes, that's been Manchester United's issue for ages now. Deadwood, we don't have enough quality to bring on the bench, to bring off the bench. Sorry, and it is frustrating because obviously, like with losing Varane and Martinez, we've lost our 2 main centre backs. And despite Luke Shaw and Lindelof doing great, I still think that it's not good enough to be Martinez and Varane. I think everyone's just putting a plaster over an open wound and just being like, oh, it's all okay. It'll scab over eventually. But, you know, United are trying to get top 4 here. And with Liverpool literally 1 point behind us, with United only having one game in hand on them now, it's starting to get a bit ropey. And Nick, I'll ask you, and I'll ask the comments, is for risk? That's the only question, because I've said it since before we lost to Brighton, that this is now the second game in a row where we've lost 1-0. We've shown no fight up front. Are we literally handing Liverpool our 4th spot at this point?
I hope not, but I want to say yes, because obviously Liverpool were playing bad, and now they're looking dominant again, how they were like last season. That obviously, they've sort of like clicked together again, and they're like getting the wins together. So we need to knuckle down, and like Ten Hag needs to like drill to them like he does, and we normally bounce back from a loss. So he needs to do something to say, look, we've got the extra game in hand, Liverpool a point behind, and we've got to do something, or we ain't getting Champions League.
Yeah, and what's even more frustrating today is that Newcastle lost. Like, that this was a perfect opportunity for United to grab the 3rd spot and progress. I mean, the top 4 might end up being Man United and Liverpool. That still might end up being the case.
Yeah.
But I think with Newcastle at the moment, they've just played Arsenal. It's very frustrating. But in a game like this, or in the last few games, United need to start digging deep and actually showing some fight, because United at the moment just aren't it. And Thomas has just said here that we don't deserve top 4 at this rate, which is the truth almost. And Simon again saying about giving credit to Eric Ten Hag that, look, he's doing a good job considering, but Rome wasn't built in a day, and that is the case. But for me in this type of game, it's like, it's 3 points dropped. Even if we came back and got a draw, which we didn't, if we came back and got a draw from it, it's not 1 point earned, it's still 2 points dropped.
Yeah.
And United now lost. I think United have now not won a game away since November, which was when we played Fulham before the World Cup. That's how long we've not won from away. And despite United having 3 games left at Old Trafford and 1 game away, which is against Bournemouth, it's still not good enough. And United need to start winning games, and hopefully we can kickstart this off against Wolves in the next game. But right now we've just got to criticise the players, and Thomas Williams as well, in that we've lost 2 games now because of sloppy defence or actions. Yes, talking about Shaw against Brighton. And with Shaw, I give him criticism after that game. Luke Shaw against Brighton was probably a contender for man of the match, but then he decided to put his arm in the air like he was answering the teacher's question in school. Like, look, teacher, I've got the answer. Like, it's frustrating, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Luke Shaw is brilliant at centre back, and I prefer him as a left centre back than a left back. I don't think he's good enough to be a modern day fullback anymore. But he's really stepped up to the plate when we've needed him at left centre back. But Varane is also apparently supposed to be back fit for the Wolves game. But again, I still think we'll see Lindelof and Shaw in that game, because obviously Ten Hag's proven that he wants to bring his players back slowly. I mean, look at Garnacho. He's a perfect example. Like, no Garnacho today. I mean, Garnacho's just received a new contract. I honestly think bringing on Garnacho would have brought more to the game than Sancho. And this is where I think Eric kind of got the game wrong. Because for me, Garnacho, you saw it against Man City at Old Trafford. That's the perfect example to bring here. You brought on Garnacho. He created them 2 last-minute goals. So we were 1-0 down. Grealish scored, if you remember. And then Garnacho helps the press, I think, and then went to Bruno for that offside goal, or whatever that was, for the first goal that we got for the equaliser against City, and then he passes it to Rashford for the second goal, which gets us the winner. I honestly think that Sancho, I mean, I don't know about your opinion on Sancho, Nick, but for me, I want Sancho to leave. That's my opinion. I don't think he's good enough. And I'm losing patience with him. People say that De Gea needs to leave. People say that Bruno's not good enough. I don't know why no one's talking about Sancho. Like, yes, I understand he's had recent mental health issues. But even before that all came out, last season when we bought him, he didn't show anything. He didn't show us anything like he was a £70 million player. But we all use the excuse, oh, let him adapt to the league, this, and this. But under Eric Ten Hag, he's shown nothing. And it's very, very frustrating. But just reading some of the comments now. Simon Davis, I've seen moments of genius of this team this season. We all have, but it's the business at the end of the season. These guys need to live it up themselves. Otherwise, top 4 isn't going to happen. And I agree, because with top 4, United need to start stepping up now. United need to actually start showing why we're in the top 4 race. We need to show that why this top 4 race is going down to the wire. Like, obviously, you've got Man City and Arsenal, their title race, that they're miles ahead of us. But realistically, you've got Liverpool who've jumped back, you've got United, and you've got Newcastle. They are the 3 teams that are probably going to get top 4. Richard, thank you for joining, pal. Hi, Man United. How is everyone doing? Leeds falling apart again. And marching together into the Championship, sacking managers, auto leaves, deluded fans, and shamble owners. Many thanks. No worries, pal. I mean, Leeds. That's one positive I could take. Leeds are going down, but you know, United we need to talk about at the moment. But Thomas saying that it's like what you said, Dan. That's what you do when playing with your mates. Shaw for me is out of touch and needs to go, in my view. That's very controversial, and that's an opinion that I've not really heard much of. It's quite out there. Nick, what do you think about Shaw?
I think he's really...
Go on, say it again, sorry.
He's very good at left back, but I think since obviously with Varane being out and he stepped in as centre back, I think he's been brilliant. Apart from like putting his hand in the air and trying to answer the question, and like a few other mistakes, I think he's been pretty solid in centre back. But he stepped up to the role.
Yeah, I mean, would you? Because United, I've talked about buying a centre half in the summer. Now, obviously, we don't know who the new owners are going to be, but we're talking about bringing in a new centre half. Now, I've mentioned this on Twitter a few times. I honestly would look at getting a new left back and converting Shaw into the full-time backup centre half, because I think that he's good enough to be or good enough to challenge Martinez almost. And I think we need a world-class left back, because I think on the right-hand side we're good enough. I think that Wan-Bissaka's really good.
Yeah.
And I think the lot's still learning. But I think we just need that world-class left centre half, left centre back, to actually go to the next level. But Simon saying, I think Sancho will come good. Now, obviously, that my opinion is just I think Sancho should leave. But again, other people don't have the same opinion as I do. Nick, what do you think about Sancho? Do you think he deserves more time, or do you think that
I think he does. It's a hard one. I think he does and he doesn't. He has games like today where he was okay. He has games where he's bad, or he can have games where he's really good, and the next game he just dips. And it's like, he just sort of fluctuates quite a lot at the minute, you know. Like when he first came back from his mental health issues, when he was like away, first game was a bit iffy. Then he had a couple of great games, like doing assists and whatever. And then he sort of dipped off again, and come back, and he's sort of like, unless he hasn't found like his right position, or if he's, I don't know. Yeah,
I agree, mate. Sancho's very inconsistent at the moment, and that's been his pretty much entire Manchester United career summed up almost. But Richard again in chat. Who else is better? Who is better, Sancho or Phil Jones? Leeds falling apart again and marching together into the Championship. I don't like Sancho, and I do want him to leave, but he is better than Phil Jones. Like, they play different positions, and Sancho is miles better than Phil Jones. But I guess you're happy that Leeds are going into the Championship. So as long as you have that positive to me, that's all that's good to bring to the. Simon Davis again. Take the bull by the horns. Yeah, that's a good quote to use almost. You've got to take the bull by the horns, and you've got to almost, take the bull by the horns almost. It's a quote that pretty much explains itself almost. But Shaw, again, moments, yes, spot on, but he's not good enough for the big boys. And Simon, I just want to ask you a question there. Do you mean by his height, or do you mean by his physicality, or do you mean that when he comes to big boys, do you mean he's just not up to this high league standard? And as well, Simon also, it's weird some players leave clubs then come good. I mean, you can make that point, but it depends which club they go to, because if you go to a different league, any player that leaves the Premier League probably looks good in every other league, because the leagues that other players might leave are much slower and they might stand out a lot more. But, you know, some players as well don't suit certain teams due to the system that they play. And I think Sancho is a much system type player. I think Sancho belongs in a Man City side where it's all quick passing. It's all, you don't really make a lot of runs, and that's how Sancho, I think, likes to play football. I mean, people say that. Look at clips of Sancho from Borussia Dortmund, and I've pretty much watched over 10 hours worth of clips of Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund. And yes, he runs at defenders, which he doesn't do in a Manchester United shirt. But honestly, he gets around 10 seconds at least on the ball. In the Premier League, you don't get 2 seconds on the ball. Either a player's shoulder to shoulder with you, or the sliding in and making you know that their presence is known. Like, the Bundesliga is completely different to the Premier League. But Thomas, unless you're Haaland and you demolish any league you're in, yeah, that's a good point. But Haaland's a robot, so Haaland's literally the Terminator with Maradona's feet. That's literally what you've got to put him as. He's unreal, and I love Haaland, but again, he's our rivals. Simon Davis in the high league standard. Come on, with regard to this comment, De Bruyne, prime example. He left Chelsea and City bought him. Not necessarily, because Chelsea sold him to Wolfsburg and then City bought him. So he did have, I think it was a season to actually develop and gain more knowledge and more experience when it comes to him. But Kevin De Bruyne also, it did take him around a season or two to actually fit into Pep Guardiola's side as well. Like, Kevin De Bruyne didn't come back to the Premier League and lit it up on fire. Like, it did take him time to adjust. But anyway, let's carry on talking about the game. And anyone in the chat, have your say in the comments and talk about any topics that you want to talk about. But we've covered top four at risk. But I go back to this about wasteful attack. And for me, is this because we're lacking a striker? Is this due to our link-up play? Nick, what do you think this is down to about us being so wasteful in attack?
Easy way to probably say it is link-up play, I reckon. You get the ball to Rush. Oh, hello? Hello, you there?
Yeah, I'm fine, pal.
You back? Okay, yeah.
Can you hear me, pal?
Yeah. I reckon it's just a link-up play, because you get Rashford on the ball, and Rashford will always put in more than 100%. Obviously, Garnacho's always there. I just think it's like, obviously, Casemiro. He's had a couple of dippy games, but Casemiro's always going to be good because he's best CDM in the world. But I think it's just like getting the right midfield and people around Rashford and the wingers, and then obviously trying to get, obviously we've got Martial's our striker, trying to get like a younger, like the topic's Harry Kane. Do we get Harry Kane? He's not Haaland, but he's a goal. He can win penalties. He's a goal scoring machine as well, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, with Harry Kane, I actually want to hear your thoughts on Harry Kane, because for me, I think he would be perfect for Manchester United. Now, a lot of people want Osimhen, a lot of people want Holgund or Vlahovic or Gonzalo Ramos, like these players. But for me, Harry Kane would just be perfect for Manchester United, because whether you like it or not, Manchester United are still through a rebuild, and right now you want a guaranteed striker. You don't want to take risks. You don't want to take chances with any of your new signings. You need guaranteed performers. And for me, Harry Kane would bring that to Manchester United.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying United go out and get a second striker, a much younger striker, and that can be the prodigy of Erik ten Hag and the prospect almost under Erik ten Hag, and he can become an Erik ten Hag type striker. But for me, I think that Harry Kane would be perfect. I mean, you see what Martial does, where he drops into the midfield, he helps with the build-up play, and he helps carry the ball. And Harry Kane is a world-class Martial, I call him. And Harry Kane, his injury record is really good. He's injured often. And for me, I just think that Harry Kane will be perfect for Manchester United. What are your thoughts on Harry Kane?
Yeah, obviously, what's he got? A year left on his contract? Is it next summer his contract's up? So
Yeah.
obviously, after the summer he'd be free, or there'd be like a hefty price for him. But obviously, as you've seen in like the Euros, obviously he's brilliant link up play with Rashford. There's the good link already. But obviously, yeah, I don't know. What could it be, like 100 million for him?
I don't think they can actually charge that much. I mean, they might.
Yeah.
But I think what United need to do this summer, whether the Glazers stay in or if it's Sergeant Ratcliffe or it's the Qataris, what needs to happen is that United need to go in. If United do go for Harry Kane, let's say, they need to go into Daniel Levy's office and be like, right, 80 million for Harry Kane, take it or leave it. And he goes, well, I want 100 million. Okay, we're going to get Osimhen. See you later. We'll come back for him in the summer when he's a free agent because we know he's not signing new contracts for you. And then they lose out on the money. And then Daniel Levy will phone up later saying, have you finished Osimhen yet? Have you done the deal? And be like, Harry Kane, we will take 70 million for him now. But we'll be like, no, we've started the contract with Osimhen now. You've lost your chance. Bye. United need to stop waiting out on these targets. United need to stop waiting out on these players. And we need to get deals done before the pre-season. Yeah. Because I mean, if you've looked at our pre-season games, yes, we've got Wrexham, but we've also got Arsenal and Borussia Dortmund. Arsenal are challenging for the Premier League and Borussia Dortmund are challenging for the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Now, for me, like, I know it's only pre-season, but you still want to be winning pre-season. You still want to be showing your team, your fans almost, that we're up and raring to go for this next season. But that's ages away, so we'll forget about that. But Simon Davis talking about the match. I thought United looked good for 25 minutes, but you have a little midfield options and no out-and-out goal scorer. And that is the case. That is the case because Martial's built like a poppadom. He breaks at any chance he can.
Yeah.
And Weghorst just isn't good enough. So who do we actually bring out? Because our youth player in, what's his name? Charlie McNeil? He's out on loan. So we can't bring a youth striker. So, realistically, this is what United have got until the end of the season. And despite Manchester United looking good for the first 25 minutes, we had no shots on goal. We didn't actually look like we were going to create anything. And it was very frustrating, in my opinion. But Tommy Williams, overall, okay performance. So, good moments, some poor moments. United need to strengthen in defence. And I think it's not just defence we need to strengthen in. I think it's where we need to strengthen in all positions. Now, Nick, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask the comments as well. Have you say in the comments down below? What would you say is the 3 top priorities United need to strengthen in this summer? I think that Thomas has hit it nail on in defence, but where would you say in the positions?
I'd probably say midfield a little bit and attack more, obviously, because we're going to have Martinez come back, Varane. Obviously, Luke Shaw potentially could be challenging for centre-back position, or obviously we got him for left-back. Obviously, right-back, we got, like you said, Wan-Bissaka. He's been playing very good recently, good on one-on-ones. And obviously, you got Dallo, who's learning, who's getting there as well. But I reckon it's more of like another CDM for like Casemiro. But obviously, if Martial's getting injured, obviously you like you said, if he just breaks, obviously, if you don't keep Weghorst, obviously you need to get like a Harry Kane that can put in goals, he can win challenges, he would just literally go for it,
Yeah. Now, here's a question, because I know like people on the United stand, people on Stretford Paddock, Webby and O'Neill, these big channels, they don't really call out. They all say that we need to get these by this player, this player, and this player. But for me, it's like they say that we need to strengthen in the squad. We need to strengthen in. We need to get first team positions. But me, what do you think we need to do? Because for me, I feel like United should always be going for first team quality. We should never be going in just for bench options. And I think that once you get these first team quality players, then that's going to create competition. You've got pure quality coming off the bench when needed, and you're not getting players like Fred being brought on, or I don't know, Lindelof when he comes on, because even though squad players are important to every team, I still think having that extra quality is even better. And that's what, I mean, look at Man City. If Haaland's injured, they bring on Julian Alvarez. If Grealish is injured, they bring on Phil Foden. If Gundogan's injured, they bring on Kevin De Bruyne or Rodri or Bernardo Silva. Like, they've got, but obviously they've been building for so many years.
Yeah.
But I do think that heavy investment in the is needed in every single position. But anyway, we'll get on to my favourite part of the stream, which is the match ratings. So obviously we'll just go by position. We'll start off with the goalkeeper and finish off at the top, including the substitutions. So Nick, for me, David De Gea, I think he deserves a 5. What do you think?
Yeah, 4, 5. If he hadn't have let him that goal, obviously I think he did put off some really good saves. If he hadn't have done like a schoolboy save and like got his hand to it and saved it and hadn't let it go in, I probably would have said a 6 or 7. But yeah, 4, 5.
Yeah, I mean, again, let's just cover that goal, because that goal that we conceded today was I don't care if it's a rocket and it's unsavable. I don't care about that. But when it's literally bobbling across the field, and all you need is a strong arm to just palm it away, it bobbles over his hand. It's a terrible mistake, and it's probably going to go down as one of the worst mistakes David De Gea has made this season. Now, people talk about his distribution. People talk about him not coming for crosses. But sometimes his saving ability just dips, and he just isn't good enough at times, I don't think. But we'll talk about right back. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I'm going to give him a 6. I felt like he had a decent performance today. Didn't do anything bad, but didn't do anything like right at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd probably say a 7. Obviously, he come off. I think Ten Hag didn't. He took him off, but it wasn't a medical sub. I think he just sub him normally, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it did say in the commentary that it was a normal substitution, not a concussion to substitution or something like that. So
yeah,
apparently it was tactical. But realistically, I think that Erik ten Hag was terrible today with his substitutions, and we'll talk about him in a moment. Thomas just asked us a question. Can talk about the potential handball penalty at the end of the first half. Completely forgot about that, pal. And the scoreline was honestly fair to Manchester United today. I don't know how it ended up 1-0, but they had that moment where De Gea got fouled and they scored a goal. And for me, it was a penalty on Lindelof. I felt like that it was a clear penalty. So, Nick, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the penalty as well, I would have said, yeah. I was literally saying, even though obviously you don't want it to happen, I was saying penalty and just surprised he didn't give it. But I think they were saying, like, because didn't hit his leg first and come onto his arm or something. That was like the reason they didn't give it. Or, but like everyone there was saying it was a penalty. I was saying it should have been a penalty.
Yeah, I think it was because he had his arm behind his back, then he moved with it, and then it kind of hit his arm while his arm was by his side. For me, it was a penalty, but I don't know how we got away with that one. But yeah, thank you, Thomas, for bringing up that comment. But anyway, back to the player ratings, and centre-back pairing in Lindelof and Shaw. I'm going to give them both 6s today. I don't think they were good enough in our defence. I think that Rama goal is one of them needs him down and not let him get that shot off. But Nick, what are your opinions? For me, they both get 6s.
Yeah, I think the two of them, I think Shaw had the better game. Obviously, Lindelof was good as well. I'd probably say like 5.5, 5.5. Obviously, you said earlier, obviously we're missing Varane and Martinez. Obviously, they're I don't know, for most of the season they've been like, are like rock solid, like brick wall, like Casemiro in front. So obviously, if they were there, it could have been a completely different game. It might have been a draw, 0-0 even, but.
Yeah, I agree, mate, because I think that's a perfect point. Despite how good Lindelof and Shaw have been as a partnership, I think that if Varane and Martinez are in our defence today, Benrahma doesn't get that shot off. No way. And Benrahma's not even there to get near the edge of the box. Like, we know Varane, we know Martinez.
Yeah.
They're absolutely brilliant players down. So Malacia, let's talk about him. I mean, I don't understand what our booking was all about with him, because it was a pointless challenge on Gerard Bowen, and he was pretty much booked for the majority for the entire second half. And for me, I like Malacia, but and I know he's still adapting to the Premier League, and he's done really well for his first season, I think, because considering he's brought in to be the backup left back, I think that when he's had to step up, he's actually done quite well. So for me,
Yeah,
I think that Malacia in this game, I give him a 5, but I think that Malacia's two issues, in my opinion, is one, when he doesn't look over his shoulder when being pressed. He
yeah,
thinks that he's got much time on the ball. He doesn't look over his shoulder for possible attackers. And two, he misses it. He mistimes his challenges a lot, and he always gets booked, it seems. So his
yeah.
discipline needs to be sorted, or his tackling ability needs to improve.
I give him a 6. Obviously, he did put off a couple of good tackles. Obviously, the yellow card, I don't know what happened there, but he is obviously still adapting to the Premier League, and obviously, being in a top team and all that. But yeah, I give him a 6. I think he had quite a lot of good moments.
Yeah, 5, 6. It's pretty much. It's just an average performance, really. That's what we can say from the entire team, really. The entire team was pretty much average today. We don't score a goal. It's a game we need to be winning at. And, it's just a frustrating loss. But for me, Casemiro now I'm going to give Casemiro a 4. Because I think I'd say Casemiro looking sloppy. Since his suspension and since coming back, Casemiro has not been the Casemiro that we're used to seeing. I don't know what's up with him, but recently he's not been playing well, in my opinion. And for me, Casemiro needs to step up and start being the best again, because for me, I still rate him as the best holding midfielder in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But realistically, he needs to start stepping up. He's sloppy in possession. He's not cutting out the passing lanes. He's not man marking. He just seems to stay quite in a lot. He seems to be staying quite free in a lot of space, and actually not being aggressive like he used to. Now, I don't know if that's due to him thinking that he's going to get a red card again, but you need to stop thinking of that. And United need to start appealing these situations where if Casemiro gets booked for taking someone out, fair enough, it's a yellow card. But if it's a red card, then you need to appeal it, because Casemiro, your role is to be a defensive midfielder, to cut out the play and create and progress the ball forward. That's your main job as a holding midfielder. And Casemiro is not doing any of that at the moment. But I love Casemiro. He's one of my favourite players. Debated full to be the sign of the season for Manchester United. But for me, Casemiro gets a 4 today.
Yeah, I'd agree. Well, 4, 4.5. As you said before the suspension, he was brilliant. Obviously, he's going in for tackles, winning tackles, feeding balls through over to Rashford or Martial, whoever's up front. But now, obviously, he's there, but he just looks off. He doesn't look the same. He's obviously, what was he out for, a week and a half? Obviously, still training, but he just doesn't look the same since before that red card.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I'm not going to keep much. Quite a quick run fire through these players. So Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. For me, Eriksen, I'm going to give Eriksen a 4 as well. I don't think he was good enough. I think with a physical midfield like West Ham, Eriksen just is a defensive liability. For me, Bruno Fernandes gets a 5 today. I don't think he was creative enough. Now, that could be down to him playing on the left wing or the right wing. And for me, I prefer Bruno as the number 10 through the middle, actually creating chances. But today, he wasn't good enough today for both of them.
Yeah, I agree. Same ratings. Obviously, as I said, Bruno's better, definitely in the 10 in the middle. The end chances in the last 60 seconds, he could have crossed the ball in, but just goes for a shot and just puts over the net.
Yeah, I mean, I was screaming at the TV for that. That really pissed me off, to be honest. Antony, Rashford, Agost. Where do I go? I'm going to give Rashford a 6, because I felt like when he was on the ball, he did try and do something. And today I'm going to give a 5 too. And Vegas, I'm also going to give a 5 too. I felt like that our attacking team today just wasn't in it, and we didn't actually do enough with the ball. But I think that we tried and did something, but we know how David Moyes plays football. He likes to drop it back and defend and pretty much put every single player in the box. But at the end of the day, United need to be breaking down that deep line, and we need to be just smashing goals past them, really. It doesn't stop Man City. It doesn't stop Liverpool. It doesn't stop Arsenal. So why should it stop Manchester United?
Yeah, Rashford, I give a 6.5. I thought literally whenever he gets on the ball, he's literally given more than 100%. You know, obviously he's putting shots off. Obviously, he always looks, as soon as he misses a shot, obviously he always looks stressed, but he's always putting in the effort, you know. Where, of course, I'd say a 5. Obviously, it's a bit hard with Where, of course. Obviously, he's not the, unless he can play as a midfield and like hold the ball like he does, I don't think he's the right striker for us. Obviously, when Martial come on, obviously he was literally running through, banging shots and doing his normal stuff. Anthony, I thought, had a quiet game as well, so I'd agree on a 5 for that.
Yeah. What about Veghorst?
5.
Yeah,
I just thought, obviously, he has had some really good games. I just thought today, like he was getting balls through, but I just thought he was a bit quiet today.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And we'll just quickly run by the substitutions. Now, I can't actually remember who fully came on, but we'll talk about Anthony Martial because he's one that actually made a difference, in my opinion. And honestly, if you had to rate a Manchester United man of the match, I would give it to Martial because I think that Martial actually showed some sort of fight. And I felt like he was dropping deep into the midfield, picking up the ball and passing it out wide to Rashford and Sancho, and actually try to get the team to score a goal. He had them 2 clear chances as well, where Fabianski makes a crucial save, and on that corner where he just heads the ball, but it just goes wide. So for me, Martial gets our man of the match, and for me, he gets a 7.
Yeah.
Now that's just my opinion, but for me, that's what I would give Martial.
Yeah, I'd say good solid 6, 7. Obviously, you said as he's making the runs through, he's having the shots. He was, obviously he was unfortunate he didn't put one of them away, but obviously he's feeding the balls to Rashford and having the shots and just breaking through, but obviously not just putting anything in the net. Obviously he's a brilliant player. Obviously he just gets injured a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Sports Carnage, I'm a massive fan of your channel, but really, Martial did nothing. Now, for me, Martial's one of them players where he doesn't get you the highlights. He doesn't get you the title headlines in the newspapers. For me, Martial's one of them players that really benefits the team. He really helps out the team. And his presence alone is more impactful than certain players that we've been playing over him. And like Nick just said, his injury record is just a shame because for me, Martial is a very crucial player for Manchester United. And a game like this, when you need link-up play, Martial should have started, in my opinion, despite him not having a good game against Brighton. But that's why I give Martial my man of the match. I'm not saying that Martial was brilliant today, but I felt like he was the only player on the pitch in the second half that actually showed some sort of fight. So that's why I give Martial my man of the match, just to give my opinion and just to explain my decision on that. Simon, Martial did the basics and it worked. And sometimes you've got to go down to the basics. That's literally what you've got to do at times. Some players overstep it at times. Some players do these skill moves and try to look absolutely brilliant. But sometimes sticking to the basics works. And that's what I think a lot of Manchester United players need to start doing. Going back down to the basics, start making these short passes, start making these forward runs, and then the more technical things about football and Erik ten Hag's tactics and his instructions will start working and start making Manchester United win again. And we need to start implementing these basic tactics because for me, Manchester United are going to lose out on top 4 if we don't start doing that.
Yeah.
Sabitzer, I'm going to give a 6.5 too. I felt like Sabitzer should have started in this game. And for me, Sabitzer looked all right when he came on. So yeah, for me, Sabitzer gets a 6.5.
Yeah, I say Sabitzer 6. Obviously, Eriksen had his good moments, but I still reckon that Sabitzer should have started over Eriksen. But obviously, it's Ten Hag's choice at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree, pal. And Sancho, I'm going to give Sancho a 5 too. I don't think he did anything when he came on the pitch. I honestly don't know why Sancho also went on the left-hand side. He never cuts in and shoots, so I don't know why we're playing him as an inverted winger. Play him on the right-hand side, whipping in them crosses and let him stay out wide and just create, because I think that going forward, Sancho doesn't offer us anything. So for me, Sancho needs to be more creative and putting him on that right-hand side, maybe making overlapping runs with Dalot or Wan-Bissaka, and then maybe start building Sancho's confidence up off the right-hand side and not shoving him out on the left-hand side when we need a goal, because Sancho doesn't offer us any goals, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd actually give Sancho a 4. Only because I reckon, obviously, he can always get the ball, but I think he holds the ball too long and runs back. He doesn't like go to cross or shoot. He literally tries to wait to get the right part. Like in that other game, obviously, when he won the penalty, obviously, he was holding the ball for so long. Luckily, obviously, when he shot, obviously, he won the penalty. But I think he needs to either cross more or just go for a shot like other players do, and like either produce a goal or just not hold the ball for as long. I think he does hold the ball for quite a while before he actually decides to do something with it.
I agree with you, mate, because the Sancho's decision making takes way too long. And it's like I said before, that in the Bundesliga, he gets like 10 seconds when he was on the ball, and he gets that space and he gets that time to make a decision. But in the Premier League, like I said before, you don't get 2 seconds on the ball.
No.
You get taken out, or you're forced to turn back and run back with the ball. And that's what Sancho exactly does. He's a coward, in my opinion. And he's cowering with the ball and takes it with him. He doesn't create anything. So that's why I said bringing on Garnacho in this sort of game should have happened over Sancho, in my opinion. Realistically, Dalot and Fred, like, what ratings do we give them? They weren't on the pitch long enough. Like, just 5, 6.
Yeah, I'd say 5. Yeah, I can't really rate that they weren't literally on the pitch long enough. What was it, the last couple of minutes they come on, last 3-4 minutes? So they don't really.
So they weren't on the pitch long enough, so we can't really rate them, in my opinion. But you know, that's literally it. But on to Wolves and United. Obviously, United are back at Old Trafford now, so the fortress, as we call it, the Theatre Dreams. United need to win the next game against Wolves. That's a must win. Because if we lose against Wolves, or if we even draw against Wolves, call off top 4, in my opinion. Because Liverpool, I think, with the fixtures they've got, they're going to win every single game now. So I think that Liverpool are going to get top 4. I'm going to say that with chest now. And it's only between Newcastle and Manchester United to get that 3rd or 4th spot, in my opinion. But I do think Liverpool will be chasing for that top 4 spot. They've got something to fight for now. Manchester United still have the FA Cup to fight for. But for me, I would honestly cancel the FA Cup. Let City get their treble, because they've been a dominant side and completely dominated the Premier League for the last 5-10 years. If the treble falls on City's hands, they deserve it. I would honestly rather get Champions League football and get top 4 and lose the FA Cup. That's where I am right now, because I cannot do another season playing Thursday night football. It pisses me off.
Yeah. I'd agree. It'd be nice if we get the FA Cup, but Champions League and top 4, definitely. Yeah. Obviously we get more money to spend. Obviously, if Qatar, if someone else comes in, obviously have more money to spend on better players, invest, rather than buying cheap players and it not being as good. And definitely top 4 in Champions League with the FA Cup. But if we win the FA Cup, I obviously know it's the extra match, but if we win, that's another trophy. But out of the 2, I'd take Champions League and top 4, definitely.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. When I'm saying that, I don't mean that, I don't want to win the FA Cup. Of course I want to win the FA Cup. But again, I prioritise the Champions League and playing Champions League next season. Like, if you're a player like Kylian Mbappe, for example, you look at Manchester United, they won 2 trophies last season. They won the 2 domestic trophies last season, but they're in the Europa League. Or Newcastle, they won nothing last season, but they're in the Champions League. Where would I rather go? You know the answer. Like, it's not just Kylian Mbappe. It's any world-class player that wants to come into the Premier League. They also want to be playing on the European stage. But I'll just read the last few comments now. The truth hurts, but it's essential. You watch Eric Ten Hag will get there with Manchester United. A team that works as a team, not individuals. It's going to get interesting. And the pressure is on. That's all I've got to say. And it does make the Premier League exciting. It does make the end of the season a lot more intense. But realistically, my blood pressure's already through the roof, and I don't want it to get any higher, because I just can't be bothered. And in a game like this today, it honestly felt like Manchester United. It felt like under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Rangnick, the players didn't show any fight, in my opinion. And Thomas Williams said, if we don't get 3 points against Wolves, then we have no chance of Champions League football next season. I agree, mate. And like I said, Wolves is a must-win. And thankfully, Wolves haven't been playing well recently away from home. I spoke to a few Wolves fans the other day, and they did say that they are worried for this game, because obviously they are safe from relegation. but they still say they want to finish as high as possible. But
Yeah.
United, we have something to fight for now, and United need to win against Wolves at all costs. And I want to see an absolute thrashing at Old Trafford. I want us to embarrass Wolves.
Yeah.
Thomas Williams again. Eric Ten Hag has the summer transfer window to strengthen the squad. Hopefully, he makes the right choices. Now, with Eric Ten Hag, I think that it's down to him. Obviously, he gets the final say. But I think that with the Glazers and the possible sale of Manchester United, we're going to have a very difficult summer, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if we make a marquee signing earlier on, and then we bring in probably 2 or 3 squad players, and that's only if the Glazers are still in charge. I think if the Qataris or Sergio Ratcliffe are in charge, then the summer is unpredictable almost. But Glazers are still in charge, which I think they will be. I don't think the summer sale will be done in time. Don't want to get your hopes up. Accept Harry Kane, maybe accept Frankie de Jong, but then you're not getting any world-class players after that, in my opinion. And Simon Davis, last comment of the top table dining, Champions League is essential. And yeah, again, it's interesting. It's between Newcastle, Liverpool, and Manchester United. And we've been saying this on this channel for months now. It's United's top 4 to lose. And if we do lose it, it's only down to the players, not Eric Ten Hag. Despite whether you think Eric Ten Hag's made questionable tactic decisions or not, I still think that's on the players because they have shown no heart and no passion in the last few games, in my opinion. So, Nick, what are your thoughts on it?
I was just going to say quickly, isn't there quite a high chance that Varane's back for against Wolves as well in there?
Yeah, but I think that he might be on the bench, but I don't think he'd get rushed back, in my opinion. But if he does, then that'd be brilliant. Seeing Luke Shaw and Varane as a centre back pair would be brilliant. But I think that he'll keep Lindelof in, but despite Varane being back, but who knows?
I'm going back. What was the question again?
It was with the Ten Hag making the right choices with the summer. Do you think that the Glazers will? Will the Glazers not sell the club in time? Will that postpone Eric Ten Hag's progress with Manchester United, or do you think that we can still make some decent choices in the summer with the Glazers in power?
I want to say obviously with Ten Hag, obviously Ten Hag has a voice here, say things as it is. He's honest. If we've had a poor performance, obviously say obviously we've played bad, he'd admit it. If we've played good, he'd admit it. So I hope, or he should put his foot down and say, obviously, we need to cover this. I need like 100 million, cover these positions, for example. If the Glazers are in, it's going to, unless they've got the money from assets, it's going to put them more in debt. If we get Qatar in, they might say, like, here's 500 mil, just go rip the team, go get a new bench and whatever. And it just depends. Yeah, I still think the Glazers will be there, but if somehow someone does buy in time, it could be a different story.
Yeah, and that's all we hope for, really. We just hope that, obviously, you've got a perfect background to explain it. Green and gold till the club is sold. We want the Glazers out, and that's priority number 1. And, Glazers out, that's the message on this channel. It's a message on pretty much every Manchester United fan channel. But, again, to end a disappointing night, United do lose 1-0 to West Ham. And the top 4 race is back on for Liverpool, for Newcastle and Manchester United. But United need to crucially win against Wolves in the next game, in my opinion. But anyway, if you made it this far into the stream, thank you for watching. Remember to leave a like on stream, share the channel to your friends, and subscribe if you're new. Join the Red Devils TV family, and thank you for watching. We'll all see you very soon. But do you just want to promote where we can find you on either channels or your social medias?
Twitter's Eric10 United, and obviously YouTube's Finney Nicholas Sunday Football.
Pal, I really appreciate you coming. Hopefully, I see you on a stream very soon. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all guys later. See you later.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having me on.